And the minutes of me falling asleep, I was being throttled. My mouth was full of cotton. I could really taste this old fusty cotton. It was like it was bulging. And my throat was being gripped and I was being shaken like that. And I was trying to scream and there was no noise coming out. And it was my legs knocking against Andrew that woke him up.
Although you couldn't see anybody there, you know, there was nothing there, you just felt all the wind. It's like all the air in the room was sucked out of the room. It went back upstairs. And as it went upstairs, there was an almighty groan, a really loud groan, and we just grabbed the kids and left the house.
Andrew and Josie thought they'd found the perfect family home when they bought Lowe's Cottage. The ground floor looked over a quiet lane at the front, while the first floor was level, with a large garden at the back. It was an ideal location in the village of Upper Mayfield. The village, although once an important resting place for travellers, is now bypassed by traffic. It looks down on the River Dove by the border between Staffordshire and Derbyshire near Ashbourne. Between the moorlands and the Peak District, it's an area more renowned for tranquility than paranormal activity, although Lowe's Cottage does have a few associations with the macabre. Lowe's is the ancient word for a burial mound, and the cottage is adjacent to Gallows Tree Lane.
Andrew was working away and just got Stephen at home at the time. Lindsay had gone to stay with friends.
These are your children?
Yeah, it's his son. He was 3 at the time, and it was about 7:30 in the morning. I was half awake, half asleep, and I felt my body jerk down and something tight coming around my throat. It was like a rope. It felt like a rope dragging underneath my chin, upwards like that, and I could hear myself choking. I really couldn't stop it. I couldn't move again, and again that didn't stop until Stephen opened my eye for me. This frightened him. He was really frightened of me for a few days after that.
And I gather that wasn't the only strange incident in the night.
I was lying in bed one night, I was fully awake, and the duvet just started to lift up, and then my nightdress started to slide up my leg.
Can I just pause you there? You're fully awake, and you see the duvet rise and sense your nightie slipping up your leg. Now, what's running through your head when that's happening?
Well, I was just stunned. I thought it's just another thing. I constantly lived on the edge, wondering what was going to happen next.
Now, I don't want to appear flippant, but I'm sure people listening to that story will say, Josie, it was your husband.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, no. I mean, I can fully understand people thinking that. It's a lot to take in, it's a lot to take on board, but I can think of better things to do than make things up like that. You know, I've got a life.
How do you feel about the prospect of going back there?
It's remembering everything. It's like when you leave here today, it's completely drained me again. It's about 8 o'clock one evening, and I saw a young girl, teenager, walk across the room and sort of disappear into the wall. I actually went outside to see if there was anybody there, and there was nobody there. It wasn't until I came back in and realised that the type of dress she was wearing, it couldn't have possibly been anybody, because it was a 19th century dress with the bodice and the skirt.
The majority of the cases I was with another clergy person, and we talked to the Smiths at length, both separately and individually, over those 5 visits. And it seemed that what they were actually relating was genuine.
You sit down and you feel all the pins and needles and your hair standing up on one arm, just where it's as if it's doing its daily routine, walking around, you know.
It'll sit at the side of you, won't it?
Yeah. You could actually be in an armchair and it'd be sitting on you.
Sitting on your knee.
Yeah. That's the fire that it nearly put out the coal back there. It went from being a roaring hot fire to black within the space of about a second.
It was just after I'd closed my eyes that I was throttled down here. Be lying there like that, and it would just sort of rise like that, and yeah, there was nothing, you couldn't physically see anything there, but it was just lifted up and like that.
The auction was at Birmingham, Surley Hull. It was only whilst it was taking place that I had the first inkling of it being haunted.
Now then, ladies and gentlemen, now what can you all tell me about Lot 60? Well, apparently, some say that it's haunted.
Do you believe in a supernatural?
Very, very much so.
Tim, a Nottingham schoolboy turned Finchley management consultant, was curious rather than nervous when he had problems with electrical equipment and extremely damp walls. As we found out, it's easy to jump to conclusions.
Having lived here for the best part of a year now, do you think it's possible it's haunted?
I certainly haven't experienced anything which makes me think it's adversely haunted. There's a Radio Derby reporter came, a BBC Radio Derby reporter, with what I looked like a proper pucker tape recorder, not just a little thing, which they had all checked out beforehand, which just failed. It wouldn't work inside the house. And what I have found recently is that I have strange pockets of damp, areas of damp, like hand, a little bit larger than a hand, sized pockets of damp, in an otherwise dry wall.
But with all due respect, Tim,
Can we just stop a minute?
is yours failing now as
Yeah.
well? What seems to be the problem?
It's just it's interference.
Would you normally expect that kind of interference in this area?
Not at all. Not at all.
You've worked in here, in this area quite a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I was noticing as I was conducting the interview there, you're shaking your head and you're moving around, seeing if it got any better if you moved around.
That's right. Yeah, I was just trying to see if anything was going to improve if I moved.
But it didn't.
No. It's where we're.
It's very funny, isn't it, that that happened.
It's gone.
It's gone now. But that happened just as we were talking about a similar experience with a report from Radio Derby.
Yes. It did cross my mind, which is why I let it go.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was important to leave it rather than
Yeah.
stop it.